As you're thinking about ways to save money for your company and reduce your technical debt in the future, you should consider migrating your legacy Camunda to Camunda 8. When you do that, one of the things that you need to think about is actually how you're going to migrate your BPMNs and your delegates, your listeners, and so on over to Camunda 8. So the first thing you have to know is that the way data is handled in Camunda 8 is actually much better than the way it's handled in Camunda 7. In Camunda 7, you had this centralized way of handling data where all the data was available in the process instance. In Camunda 8, every step is very deliberate in terms of the input that it takes and the output that it provides. What that means is that we know exactly what each one of these things does. Moreover, we can actually pass this work off to an asynchronous job worker that improves it. So let's say, for the sake of argument, that we have a flow that needs to validate income. And the way that it works now, we get a PDF file, we send it to an AI agent, the AI agent parses it and returns back to us, hey, this is Mr. Johnson from Wisconsin. Okay. Now, let's say the format of the document changes. You can actually go and change the underlying mechanism, the actual job worker that's doing this work, without changing the implementation of the workflow. You don't even have to take your system down. What you can do is you can actually change just that piece that you need without changing the entire system. So imagine that, for example, you had to work on your car and say the spark plug needed to be changed. And you had to take apart the entire car to do it. That's not really very good. With Camunda 8, it's actually designed for exactly that sort of decoupling. As a part of your migration, what you have to be thinking about is, well, how do I take the delegates, the listeners, all these things that are sort of baked into the engine, baked into the executing Camunda, and separate those out into job workers and into listeners and into the new way of thinking about these problems. So your approach here is going to be to design your inputs and outputs for each of the activities that are actually going to be doing the work. You're going to have to test every step of the way and then do a unified testing of the entire end-to-end flow. And you have to implement the right SDK, whether it's Node or Java or .NET, to be able to support the logic that you want. And this is actually a really important point, because not only are you migrating, you're actually getting an opportunity to build things in a way that's native and makes sense for you. So let's say you're a .NET shop and you've decided that you want to involve your existing team into your migration efforts. It's fantastic. Just have them build the points that are going to do that code in their native expert language, and then Camunda can integrate that. That's one of the advantages you get when you migrate from Camunda 7 to Camunda 8. Now, transitioning from legacy Camunda to modern can require some adjustments, but I think it's well worth it, because what you gain back in opportunity, what you gain back in scalability, what you gain back in resilience, what you get back in future-proofing is so much more valuable than the problems that you had and you solved 5 years ago with what was at the time an excellent engine. But things have changed, and it's time to change along with them. If you have any questions about this, if you just want to discuss it, if you have comments, feedback, arguments, any of it, please contact us at info@capbpm.com. I should also say that CapBPM does offer a guaranteed migration path from your Camunda 7 to Camunda 8. So what that means is that we contractually, legally guarantee to you that we will migrate you in a set amount of time for a set amount of money, or you don't have to pay us. If you have partners that are willing to help you with that, that's fantastic. But if you don't have partners that are willing to help you in exactly that way, it might be time to have the uncomfortable conversation of why not.